and the charges were ultimately dropped. Fred was 5'7", 170 pounds, and he had 2 children, a 4-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son with his ex-girlfriend. With a long-standing admiration for firearms, Fred owned several. The 2 he used in the shooting were purchased at a shop in Newton called a pawn shop in March of 2014. However, because Fred was a convicted felon, he was not legally permitted to purchase, own, or possess guns or ammunition. So he could get around this obstacle. His girlfriend, Sarah Hopkins, bought them for him online and had them delivered to the pawn shop, who then transferred them to Sarah after she passed the proper background checks. Sarah pawned the firearm several times, which was reported to police by Jason McCool, who ran the shop. His greatest passion at the time of the shooting seemed to be the time spent working on his dark green-gray 2006 Dodge Charger, which he detailed with fine precision for entering into car shows. The car had a custom sound system, so Fred liked to brag to others about it being, quote, the 9th loudest sound system in all of Kansas. Driving fast was his thing, and he was previously ticketed for speeding the year before the shooting. He was driving 91 miles per hour on I-135 in Newton. Fred was a second shift worker on the paint line at Excel Industries. He reportedly was concerned about being fired, which close friends and family reported, though no one could quite say why Fred believed this. While he seemed to like his job fine enough, he avoided overtime at all costs, preferring to spend as much time as possible with his kids or cars. Coworkers claimed that Fred mainly kept to himself, though he was laid back and did not cause problems. There were a few instances where Fred became upset at work because he felt that he was being micromanaged and nitpicked, but he never expressed anger where anyone believed him capable of violence. He was mainly a relaxed man who would unwind with a few gin cocktails on the weekends and show off his car and car sound system. Interestingly, Fred had plans to attend a car show in Park City the weekend after the shooting, which begs the question of whether this was a planned attack, or a sudden burst of rage that took over him, causing unspeakable harm before he could regain control. Sarah Hopkins was criminally charged for her role in transferring guns illegally to Fred. Her charges include knowingly transferring a firearm to a convicted felon, because she was fully aware that Fred was a convicted felon and could not use, own, or possess a gun. The couple lived together. Sarah had actually moved out the previous July. She claimed that she went to the police in August to take the guns from their residence. She further alleged that after the guns were returned, Fred threatened her. Sarah had no criminal record and didn't appear to have any other trouble independent of Fred. Fred spoke no words during the entire 26 minutes of his shooting rampage. An autopsy was later performed on Fred, showing that he had significant levels of methamphetamine and over 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in his system. Combining drugs like alcohol and meth can induce delusions and psychosis, causing consumers to act on impulses that they usually would not do. A candlelight vigil was held at Hesston's Heritage Park, with hundreds in attendance, coming together to honor the victims, injured, and all those touched by this horrifying day. This shooting is so tragic. It may have been prevented, though Fred indeed showed no real warning signs, or indicated his intentions. Perhaps this is truly a case of a man who just snapped, though that is no means a justification or even a reason or excuse for the shooting and killing of innocent lives. So many were affected by this devastatingly appalling act of malice, though it remains unclear if this could have been averted. But we will close this episode as always. If you see something, say something. You never know how many lives you may be saving.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Active Shooter, the podcast. Remember, if you see something, Say something. There's no telling how many lives you may be saving.
A huge thank you to Darren Curtis, who composed some of the music used in this episode. Check him out at darrencurtismusic.com. DARRENCURTIS music.com.
Active shooter, reports of an active shooter
with mass casualty incidents.
Make sure to check us out on social media. We have a discussion group on Facebook. Just search for Active Shooter, the podcast discussion group. You can also find us on Instagram at Active the Podcast and Twitter at Podcast Active. For just $1 a month, you can get access to ad-free episodes, early release episodes when available, and a shout-out on the show. Just go to patreon.com/Active the Podcast. Thank you, and be safe.
Talent. It's me, your host, Kylie Dills. Talentless Talent is a podcast about those with extraordinary talent. We're talking about conspiracy theories. We're talking to comedians. We're talking to painters. We are talking to those who make portraits. We're talking to dollhouse makers. We are talking to people about sports. We're talking to comedians. We're talking to sex workers. We're talking to models. We're talking to videographers. We have it all, including a very special pickle time. Talentless Talent is hosted by me, Kylie Dills, somebody who has no talent. So be sure to tune it in every Thursday. I'll catch you there, my Talentless Talent babes. We're having a good time.
Talentless Talent.
Talentless Talent?
It's Talentless Talent.
Talentless Talent with Kylie Dills.